Ladies and gentlemen, the chairman of Bistan Group, honorable ministers present and representative present, honorable members of the parliament here present as well, distinguished guests of honors, our royal fathers, ladies and gentlemen. This year, we're talking about something very important: the youth and the women inclusion in good governance, economic growth and development. We're talking about women and youth as a center point for growth in every nation. And we can't have this discussion without talking about shelter, because I say all the time that shelter is life. Shelter is a basic necessity for life and human existence. This is a critical life component, falls within the basic psychological needs of every individual. It might interest you to know that key drivers for economic growth in any developing country like Nigeria and every other developing nation is the achievement of home ownership through sustainable housing development. In this regard, the Metro Shelter Mass Housing Development Program, which was launched at the second quarter of 2021 by Bistan Group, is a major solution and a key stimulant for nation building and economic growth in Nigeria as we speak today. Looking at the population and current demography in Nigeria, you realize that Nigeria represents 2.4% of the world population, according to a recent UNICEF data of 2022. The current population of Nigeria, it's about 217,653,000 by United Nations 2022 data. In terms of Yoruba population, Nigeria has the largest youth population globally, with 53.7% aged between 15 to 65 years and a median age of 18 years. About 70% of the population of Nigerians are under 30 years of age. For women, there are currently 40 million women of childbearing age between 15 to 49 years of age who suffers a disproportionate high level of health issues surrounding birth by United Nations and UNICEF 2022 data. What this means is that the women and the youth takes about 70% to 75% of the population of this country. That invariably means that they are the determining factor for any growth and development of this nation, if there will be one. Therefore, this population, this growth, cannot be achieved without bringing women on board, without looking at the solutions for the youth unemployment, the solution to the housing deficit in this nation. There is no home, there is no family without a house. You can't grow as any youth without having a home. A place of growth starts from a house, because you have to have a roof for you over your head for you to be able to grow in the business you're doing. And with respect to housing, as of June 2022, estimates by the Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria indicated a housing deficit of about 28 million units and still counting. A requirement of 1 million units of houses is to be developed annually for the next 20 years to offset this deficit. That's huge. It means that about 15% of the population of this nation to 20% is homeless, practically in data, but physically I can tell you that we have over 30 to 35% people in this country that is homeless, not having a good home, a good house, a roof over their head. And you expect growth from such nation. Recent statistics shows that other African nations have leveraged effectively on affordable housing to achieve significant reduction in housing deficit. For example, Kenya, with about 53 million people, has 2 million unit housing deficit with 50,000 units being constructed annually. Ghana, with about 32 million people, has 1.8 million units of housing deficit. Ethiopia, with about 121 million people, had 1.2 million units deficit. The low deficit in Ethiopia is tied to the government's condominium housing scheme that have largely benefited low and medium income citizens, in addition to private sector players' role. What this means is that nations that does not even have the kind of population we have a very low housing deficit, and yet they are doing so much about reducing the deficit to the barest minimum. And you can see the growth in their economy, because housing is a nation stimulant for growth. When you have a housing project going on in any community, 1,000 units of housing, for example, going on in a state or in a community, it brings about security eventually in those communities. It brings about businesses in those communities. It brings about businesses and engagement for the youth. It's an all-round growth, an all-round stimulant. Health condition as well becomes better, because highest level of immortality rates and death rate comes from poor standard of living, which also is tied to housing. The point is, without a good housing in Nigeria, it's difficult to achieve any major growth in major sectors. And we have a population of 70% youth and women. What can we do to harness the youth and women capacity for growth in economic growth? With regards to current economic indices and existing mass of youth and women population in Nigeria, what are the possibilities, advantages, and potentials for development? One, large human capital capacity. When you have a 70% youth and women in a nation, you have capacity. You have active capacity for growth. That must be harnessed. You see our youth today. We are here today. This week is for the youth. We want to see how we can improve the standard of living. We want to see how we can engage the youth in this their active age. How we can engage the youth. We have several schemes going on. Over 70% youth and women population of Nigeria is an economic asset that have not been harnessed by the government. Population growth increases the need for urbanization through housing development. Population growth, it leads to a lot of growth. Urbanization in rural area, more useful hand leads to increased manufacturing, production activity. Resultant effect of increased local production is a reduction in the patronage of foreign goods. These youths can be employed into factories. You can set up a farm and get youth to work there and employ them. You can have a project of 2 million going on, housing development of 2 million, such as Metro Shelter Initiative powered by the Bistan Group and the partners. Our intention is to do 30,000 homes in the next few years and eventually grow into 1 million homes in every 3 years. Please, you should give a round of applause for that. Because it invariably will reduce the deficit of this country. It invariably will bring employment to the youth. NYC releases every year millions of youths that have graduated, and they come into the labor market to do nothing because there's no job for them. rural and urban migration. People leave the rural area coming to the urban area for good life. Adding to the population in the urban area, whereas there's no good employment, there's no job for them. Those in the urban area are still unemployed. The rural areas are living every day, coming into different cities in Nigeria for employment, looking for greener pasture. Whereas there's so much we can do. In reducing deficit, we are increasing the growth of this nation. Leadership accountability. The expected transition into a new regime of political leadership in 2023 offers new opportunity for vibrant, competent, accountable leaders who will make achievement of socio-economic goals a priority. It's an election year coming up. And several people had gone in right now for presidency, gone in for governorship, and people are canvassing for votes. You can only canvass for votes and beg and pay for votes because you've done nothing for the youth. We have youth in Nigeria that have been at home for over 8 months. For me, that's wickedness. Wickedness in high places. Because I'm a youth, and I'm the one with the mic, and I can speak for all of you, right? Wickedness in high places. We all have children. You can't have your children at home for 8 months. How many of their children is at home for 8 months, doing nothing, eating and waking up every day? How many parents is happy seeing somebody who was supposed to have graduated, still at home for 8 months, and there's no hope for resumption till December? Are we saying that these children will be at home for 1 year? It's time for the youth. I hope you have your PVC. I hope you have your PVC. Don't be bought. What did I say? Don't be bought over. Use your right. They need us. We needed them for years. We needed them for 8 months. And they didn't do anything. Now, don't be bought with 1,000. 8 months you've spent at home cannot be quantified. Do the right thing. Your future is in your hand with the power of your PVC. It is time for us to do the right thing and put the right leadership in place. It will take time, yes, but the journey of 1,000 years, they say, starts with a step. We might not get it all right in 2023, but we can get it right if we start. The nations that are doing well today, they didn't do magic. Everything National Housefair is all about can only be achieved to the strength of PPP, to the strength at which the leadership understand the power of the youth. Life is a give and take. When you do your right and do the right thing, we will do the right thing. Let everyone use their conscience. As a mother, as a father, think about your children that is at home. Think about the next 5 years and the next 10 years in taking decision in the next few months into election. Let us not think about what you can get and gain today. Let us start thinking about Nigeria as a country. We can only have peace. You can only come to Abuja. We can only do a lot of things, conferences and the rest of that. Your business can only move forward when there's an enabling environment to do business. Women empowerment is another major area, which is why Metro Shelter Initiative is dedicated to the women. United Nations 2022 data has talked about the rights of women for home ownership this year. The home ownership is not only for men. Women need to start thinking about owning a home, investing in a home, buy a property. You don't have to break a bank to buy one. There are projects in this hall that you can buy with as low as 100,000, and you can pay for the next 7 years. in the next 10 years, the next 5 years. There are projects that are selling for 1 million, 2 million, projects selling for 10 million, as the case might be, a finished house. You have some plots you can buy as low as 2, 3, 4, 5 million. And you can pay for the next 5 years. We have to start helping ourselves. Your 50,000 every month can do a lot. Your 100,000 every month can do a whole lot. There's a project we call Not Too Young to Own a Home, dedicated to the young ones, the youth. As we speak, we have over 7,300 youths that have subscribed for that project, Not Too Young to Own a Home, across the nation. With a 10 years payment plan for the youth. Because if the nation don't have a plan for you, you have to have a plan for yourself. You must have a plan for yourself. Home ownership is not for the old. It's for everyone. And it starts with a step, a decision that you must make today. What are the recommendations from this event? It is time for us to harness the powers of the youth and the women, considering the fact that they have the population in this nation. Metro Shelter will catalyze sustainable home ownership through housing accessibility and affordability. Metro Shelter has kicked off a 30,000 units of houses comprising of 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, and 3 bedroom within 11 different locations in Nigeria, covering all the geopolitical zone in this country, including FCT. What that means is that you can subscribe for any of these projects in any of the states and apply and structure your payments. With a minimum deposit you pay and structure the rest of the projects. We are faced with a lot of things right now. Restructuring is going on everywhere. But what is your personal plan? You came to NHF this year. What is your personal plan? What do you want to do before leaving this place? The decision is in your hand today to take the bull by the horn, apply for Metro Shelter, subscribe, because we have, as we speak, over 22,380,000 people that have applied for Metro Shelter across the nation. Yes. You should clap for that. That's a lot. Within just 12 months. And graciously, we have partners that are working with Bistan Group to achieve the Metro Shelter initiative across this nation. Therefore, the opportunity is there as we speak right now. Within this all, the forms are all available for you to pick up the form and subscribe. Many of the projects you see on the screen are all under Metro Shelter initiative, and it's ongoing. The power of liberty starts with an information. That information is what you have today. What must be done to get things sorted out? We are faced with a current standing of several issues as a nation today. It will take effective leadership, responsive government, and political willingness to translate the existing human capital of our youth and women into economic gains for this nation, Nigeria, and for Nigerians at large. If we must secure a bright future and achieve a stable economy, it is very important that we both, the leaders and the led, the followers, the citizens, must work together to address issues bedeviling our nation, this myriad of issues, which of course include the state of insecurities of lives and properties in this nation, which is a job of the government to ensure that we are safe, properties are saved, lives are saved. Social unrest, which is kidnapping, youth in crimes and criminal offenses, poor public infrastructure, consistent industrial strike, such as the ASU strike ongoing, medical staff union strike, legal staff union strike. All these strikes must be put to an end. Our strength is in unity. Our growth is in unity. And we must work together. None of us prays for this nation to divide because it will profit no one. God did not make a mistake by bringing us together. Our population should not be seen as a problem, but rather a gain for us, because that's resources, raw resources, active resources. The population of the women and the youth in this country today should be seen as a raw resources, and active resources to be taken advantage of for a smart government. An intelligent government should see the active population and take a huge advantage of that for infrastructure development, for a lot of reform. There's a need for an educational reform system. And reforming of this educational system is not by creating another monster. You don't create a monster to solve a problem. Our leaders must take selfish interest from solving every problem. We must take away all selfish interest and personal vendettas in solving major issues of this country. We have countries that are bigger than us in population, and they are not having the kind of problems we are having because they are selfless in their leadership. ASU strike is for 8 months. That's the center stage. That's the first problem that should be solved before we talk about any electioneering. Because these youth are the ones that you expect to queue. You've kept them at home for 8 months. Why should they go and queue for you to put you in government? We must solve the ASU problem, but not by creating another monster. Because for every monster created, you should think of the next 4 years again. 4 years looks so long, but it's very short. If you create a monster today, we will wait for you again, next 4 years. Electoral must be well informed. There's a need for a proper electoral reform system. There's a need for housing reform system, which is what the National Housefair has been doing for the past 6 years in a row. Back to back, a private sector, a group that is privately owned, has taken upon themselves to ensure that there's a major solution and a major change in housing deficit as a country. We might not achieve it in one day, but for Bistan Group, we are highly dedicated, extremely committed to ensure that we put our quota and solve the housing deficit as much as possible. Even if it takes us years to do so, we will ensure that in the next few years to come, our children of tomorrow will remember National Housefair and see it as a major solution for this nation in terms of housing sector through the Metro Shelter initiative that has been launched already and is taking over the space. There's a need for health reform. We can't be having the doctors going on strike. It has become the order of the day. And these major sectors that are going on strike are the major critical aspects of every life of this country. And if you look at all the sectors that are going on strike, it's because the leadership are not fully involved. Because if you know that you will go to the hospital if you are sick, you will not want the hospital to go on strike. But it's because when you have malaria, you are already in London. You have fever, you are in America. If you will go to that state hospital, you will not want that hospital to be less equipped. Neither will you want that hospital for the doctors to go on strike. Same thing for the educational issue. If your children are all in Abuja University, Nnamdi Azikiwe University, Abu, and all the universities in Nigeria, you will not want your children to be at home 8 months and you are seeing them at home every day. And you are in a leadership role in this country. If you are homeless or your family members are homeless, you will not want your family member to be roaming on the streets without having a roof over their head. At least a basic need. For God's sake, what is the need of Nigerians? Very basic that can be solved. Our needs are not much. We are not a demanding citizen as such. We just need an adequate leader, a sustainable leader with a good mind of serving the people to solve the basic things. Very little basic things. Great housing. You go to UK, you go to Kenya, the countries that are developing countries like ours, Kenya, Ghana, Rwanda, with all the problems they've gone through. Today, look at them. They are doing amazingly well. Their economy is growing and still growing because leaders are selfless. And they are doing the right thing by creating an affordable homes as much as social houses, old people's home. Look at the IDP everywhere. Displaced people across every nation. Look at the problems of Lokoja. That is a state with a governor, 8 years. And yet, that road is a federal road, a major connecting road between the south and the north. And it's been like that for the past how many years? People couldn't even travel. We have several people that were supposed to be on the road. Our team that came from Lokoja and some other states stayed on that road for 6, 7, 8 hours. You can't even drive past the bridge as I speak to you. It's flooded. You saw it online. Has the government said anything about that? But that state is going to go for election. We can't continue the wickedness. We can't continue the wickedness. We can't. Is it because you don't travel through that road and you use a private jet or you use an helicopter? If a governor's convoy is parked on that road and submerged in that water, look at social media. People were carrying their boxes on their head, travelers, because their buses were turning back. 6 of the royal fathers that are supposed to be here from that state couldn't come. They had to turn back yesterday. They couldn't come. You can imagine. And money is going to that state. There's infrastructure, security vote, several money is going there. There's tomorrow. Tell your neighbor, there's tomorrow. There's tomorrow. You will not remain there forever, just like my father said. The chairman has said it. Every seat you occupy today is temporary. Somebody was there before, and somebody will be there tomorrow. And posterity will judge everything we do. You do good, it's there for you in the future. History is there. The youth must be given an enabling economic environment to strive. The Nigerian youth are intelligent youth. We are not lazy. Very intelligent, very industrious youth. In the midst of all the jaga-jaga, we are still striving. We are pushing. Some countries cannot even survive in this situation. There will be protests everywhere if some countries go through what we are going through. We are intelligent, hardworking. We are the leaders in every sector across the world. We are even appreciated outside more than inside. That's why they are taking our doctors away, taking our engineers away. People that knows their benefit, that knows the strength of the Nigerian youth. Look at the ICT. We are doing well in ICT. Look at medicals. We are doing well. The best surgeons in the world are from our Nigerians. This is a strength that the nation Nigeria should take advantage of. Because when you ignore your own, other people that knows the advantage will take advantage and take them. And when they take them in the years to come, you will look for them and you won't find them. Look at the jackpot syndrome. Everybody is jackpotting everywhere. When everybody jackpot to somewhere, who will remain here? Who will you lead? Because there's no leaders without follower. You can't lead yourself. You cannot rule over your family as a governor. You cannot rule over only your family as a president. You need us. And if you want us to be part of your government, include the youth in the next 2023 election. We are clamoring for the youth inclusion in every aspect. You can't have a youth leader that is 70 years old. When there are youth leaders, when there are youth that are 40 years, 35 years, 40 years old. We need to include the women. We are the home builders. We are the builders of every nation. You don't have a home without a woman. What you have is a house. Ask the men, they will tell you. You don't have a home. What you have is a house. So to have a home, you need a woman to lead right in every nation. Look at the banks today. They suddenly saw the strength of women. We have top banks that are MDs of CEOs of banks, and they are women. What trade organization did not make a mistake? Look at the UK recently, the Prime Minister. You think they don't know what they are doing? They've seen the strength of women. CEOs of different parastatals are women. Because the women are dedicated. We are committed. We are trustworthy. Involve women in governance, in every aspect of leadership. Involve women. Bring them to the center stage. We should have the next president of Nigeria being a woman. It's not too much. Women, are you not qualified? We should have several governors in Nigeria as women. Ministers, as more ministers as women. And see the growth. See the growth, see the expansion that we will achieve as a nation. To round up this, it is important as we continue in National Housefair to take advantage of all the opportunities that are here. We want the government to do the right thing, but I also call on you to do the right thing. The youth, you must know your right, and you must exercise your right rightly. We have thousands of youth in this hall. Exercise your right rightly. Choose right as we go into this election. Choose right as we go into this leadership role. Be part of leadership. Don't stay back. Don't stay at the back. The women should not stay at the back. Dust up. Let's show that we have youth that are intelligent. Let's show that we are youth that knows what to do. Get involved in home ownership. Subscribe to the forms. They are already sharing the forms in the hall. Subscribe to the Metro Shelter initiative going on. Not too young to own a home. It's a major campaign by the Bistan group that we are pushing for the young ones. Subscribe for that. It takes 10,000 every month, 20,000 every month. Plan for your future today. Don't go and buy iPhone 20, iPhone 15, 1.5 million. I want to ride Benz, and you don't have a home. Some tenants are having 3, 4, 5 cars. Worth 10 million accumulatively. You are paying 5 million naira rent, and you don't have a plot. What do you gain? What do you gain? Nothing. Tomorrow, that your landlord picking go come embarrass you. You will come the buga, tenants with the buga. What do you gain? If you like be a CEO, you are a tenant, you've not achieved anything. Plan for your future today. Start planning now. This money no reach. You reach something. How much is my salary? How much is my salary? My salary now 50,000, 100,000. You can subscribe on a weekly payment. You can subscribe for a monthly payment. 5,000 naira every week. 20,000 naira every month. They say knowledge is power. You have the knowledge and the information today. Take advantage of that. Somebody who's paid 50,000 every month. Do you know that in 6 months, in 1 year, you have paid 600,000? In 2 years, you have finished paying for a plot of land in Abuja, not in your village. 1.2 million naira plot. In 2 years, you have finished paying. And you become a landlord in this town. Owning a house, start with a baby step of buying a plot. And buying a plot, start with a very baby step of paying 50,000 every month. Or a 10,000 naira every week. We have a trader scheme for the traders. Oh, I'm not a civil servant. Now business that they do. You feel they pay 2,500 naira. After all, you they do a job. Yes. You can do as little as that. Vista Home has made property ownership the easiest in Nigeria. We call it property in a sachet. Property in a sachet is the way. You buy a property as though you are buying picnic in a sachet or cowbell in a sachet. Very easy. Home ownership has been made easy by the group, the Bistan group. Through all the initiative, the Metro Shelter initiative, the Not Too Young to Own a Home initiative, the Trader Scheme initiative, and the last one, the Kiddies Legacy initiative. Because if you have your own house, 50% of your problem is solved. You can then take care of other issues. And you don't need to break a bank to do that. Because a lot of us are waiting for government to do everything. They can't achieve everything. You also need to take a part in building your own life. Let us take advantage of the opportunities of Metro Shelter. And guess what? All these projects are on 20% discount from today up till Saturday. Please, you should appreciate the group. 20% discount on all the projects we are talking about. So it's easy for you to subscribe to anyone with less 20%. And you don't need to pay at once. There's 3 years payment, there's 5 years payment, and there's 7 years payment. So it has been made easy. The government, the ministers, the governors, the representative of every dignitary here today should take this message back home. Our monarchs should take the message back home. Let us build the Nigeria that we desire. Let us not neglect the youth. They say the youth are the leaders of tomorrow. The tomorrow don't come. More on our shift. The tomorrow is here. Allow us. Somebody was the president of this nation at age 35. And now, 35 years old, 40 years old man is still living with his parents because there's no job, no home. Give us the Nigeria we desire. Let the youth take the center stage. It is our country as much as it is yours. Allow the youth to take advantage. Let's take advantage of the strength and the population we have. Let's take advantage of the capacity that we have and build the Nigeria that we desire. God bless you.